Hello everyone, my name is Rhett. Today's project is to reduce the amount of engine noise coming out of this vehicle. Let's have a look inside. Well, looking at this, the manufacturer has fitted what's called a foam-based material. It's only about 1.5 to 2 millimeters thick. It gives you the best bang for your weight. So if you want the best sound insulation for the amount of weight, now obviously that's important particularly in terms of lifting the bonnet. So, you have older people, they need to be able to lift the bonnet. So if you want to bump it up, the most efficient thing in that regard, in terms of weight, in terms of sound reduction, is to fit a thicker foam. You can get products with a very tacky background which allows you to stick it on, and it will have a reflective coating on here to protect it from getting oil stains or any other kinds of stains or absorb any kind of materials, and also reflect the heat back down. Now, if you want to go even better again than to fit a thicker foam, you would actually get a butyl rubber type product like this that you can stick on underneath this. You'd actually be sticking it on to the top skin of the bonnet if you can, and that will stop the whole bonnet from being like a membrane that would transmit noise. Now, because this is still in good condition and I'm not as concerned about weight, I'd rather not be mucking around with the thick foam that might get wet or degrade over time. So I've actually decided to put this underneath that and see how it goes. Now, it might be about this point, before you get stuck into your car, that you download an app onto your phone of a decibel meter. Maybe you've already got a decibel meter, but it's very quick and easy to do. And I would suggest you go somewhere where there's not other cars around and do a full throttle acceleration run to perhaps 60 or 80 kilometers per hour, and make sure the phone is securely located in the vehicle, ideally somewhere near to where your ears are when you're sitting in the vehicle, because that's obviously the most important point, and try to make it solidly mounted so there's not going to get extra vibration or jiggly noise at the phone itself. So basically you can turn on your decibel meter on app on your phone, maybe strap the phone to a headrest, the passenger headrest, and then do a full throttle acceleration run. You don't need to look at it as you do the run. It will record the maximum decibel for that run. And what you can do if you've done that, then of course after you've done the work, you can do the same thing again and do a comparison. Well, they don't come too much easier to take off than this. This is a little clip here. I've just taken it off here. I can take it off by hand. I'll show you. There you go. Well, now that I've taken this off, I can see that it's actually thicker on the inside than at the edge. Here it's probably about 30 millimeters thick. So to replace this with another piece of foam seems a little bit of a waste. Well, this is a bit like a cooking show. See what I prepared earlier. Obviously I've already done this one. This is the butyl rubber which I've stuck on. If I was to do it again, I would do a neater job. It was challenging though, as you try to move it in. If you make it large enough to fit into these extra gaps, as you try and move it in, it will stick somewhere, and you have to try and pull it off, and then you have to start again, and then it sticks, and you pull it out, and It's very awkward. If you took the bonnet off and put it upside down, I think you would have a better chance. Of course, there's the other opportunity to leave the backing on and have a way of pulling the backing off when it's inside there. I've got one idea you could do for that. I'll just point out at this stage, I tried to save time by making a flop of one that I'd already made, and then I found out that it's not the same left to right. If you see, this bar here is in a different position to that bar over there, so you do always have to make sure you're dealing with the area that you're dealing with and not getting ahead of yourself. Okay, so you can see that I've done this area here, all the black. That's what I've done, that's what you can see. I haven't done anything else. Now I'm looking to do a little bit more, and I'm looking at these pockets. This area is closer towards the cabin, so I figure that should be more important. And when I lift the bonnet, because the hinges are here, I don't have to lift much of this mass. If I was to fill this area, I'd have to lift virtually 100% of that when I lift the bonnet. So I'm going to fill these areas, so I'm going to start by cleaning them out. Before I applied this product, I cleaned it thoroughly using wax and grease remover. Because it's in an upside down situation, you really do want to make sure you get the maximum adhesion, and of course there's all the engine heat as well. But if you just clean it properly with this first, it will stick forever. This is soaked in wax and grease remover. Now when you're applying this material, it's very tacky, but you do need to really roll it in, compress it into the surface. I've already rolled this in. These rollers are cheap, you may as well get one, and it makes the process a lot easier. So when I'm looking to fill these, I can't really put any more in than I can get to, either with the roller or with some kind of way of compressing against the metal. Otherwise it runs the risk of starting to peel off because it hasn't stuck properly. As you can see, the handle itself is also a valuable tool. Okay, this is very elaborate. As you can see, I've basically taped the backing. I had to put a bit of release there because it's stuck onto the tape, and I don't expect that I'm going to go to the effort of doing this again, but it could be an interesting demonstration. Okay, so now I have my flat piece in there. All I need to do is get the backing off. Okay, so that that didn't work. As you can see, that the backing tore, so there was going to be a large portion of backing still on there. Okay, the technique I've found that's working for me at the moment is to use two smaller pieces. As you can see, there's two pieces there, and these come down a fair way. And so you can just maneuver one into place, another into place. When they're smaller, they don't tend to stick as hard. They're easier to maneuver. So there's two pieces there, two pieces there. I think if I was to do this again, I would take the bonnet off. What I can now do is show you the difference that it makes. One of the main things that you're doing is stopping the panel from being able to resonate and transmit sound. So this is a panel that doesn't have any sound deadener. This panel here, no sound deadener. So if I go over there to that side, and tap it where this section hasn't been done yet, see how loud that is? And this is quite loud. Whereas here, there's a lot more absorption, a lot less reverberation and sound being generated. So now I'll finish the rest off. So now you can see that I've put material in these areas on all sides, and I took all my offcuts and I've used those to fill in gaps, especially towards the cabin end. Yeah, it's interesting. This area is fairly taut. It's not acting like a drum so much, both on top and below. And then as I go down, it's still, but then it starts to get a bit more. But then down here, even with these pieces here. So what I'm going to do is add some more pieces here. If I add pieces here, I'm worried because these go up into that area, so it might affect the fitment of this. So I might just add some extra pieces here. It would be lovely to get inside of there, but so I'll do that. So now I've added the second layer to this lower pockets. There's a second layer on top of there and over there, just at the bottom. I've taken all my offcuts, filled in a lot of little gaps, especially towards the bottom. Now this is ready to go back on. If you've done a beautiful job, it gets covered over. If you've done a not so beautiful job, it gets covered over. Now, if you decide to take the bonnet off, which is what I recommend, what you want to do is get yourself some masking tape. And mark the position of the bonnet. You want that to sit across the top of that point there. That gives you how far in this direction it goes. And put pieces of tape there so you know how far in this direction. Do that for the other side. Another tip before you take the bonnet off, get yourself some rag. Feed it down here under the corner, a few extra bits of rag, the more padding the better. Before you take it off, and that means that when you take it off you won't chip any paint either on the bonnet or in the surrounding area. Do that on both sides. In that whole process I used 1 1/3 sheets of the butyl rubber. So here I am weighing 1 2/3 sheets because I don't want to cut it, which is almost dead on 1 kilo. So I've added less than 1 kilo in total. Okay, this is back on. Time to get rid of anything from around the area before I put the bonnet down. And that's one of them. Okay, next step, I'll go for a drive. Okay, so I'm about to go for a test drive and take a decibel reading. I just want to point out some things that you want to get in place before you do something like this. It's not a big one, but turn your radio off. Now if you've got, say, 10 pillows sitting on your back seat, that's going to absorb a lot of sound. So, and also if you've got a passenger, they will also absorb sound, and you know, a lot of sound can come up through firewalls and through various things. So I've basically made the car pretty empty. So it's just me. As you can see, I've got a hat on the back seat, so I'll attest to that. I might need that because I'm going to do some other things as well. And I've got, you might have seen a shopping bag there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically sit the phone in front of here, or I should say the decibel meter, whether that's a phone or not. We're going to put the decibel meter here, and I'm going to do a full throttle run up to 60 kilometers per hour, and we'll see how we go. Well, I just finished my run and I had a maximum of 77.9 decibels. Now if you're thinking this is going to mean that you've got no engine noise anymore, well, no, you will. You'll still have engine noise. The main thing is that previously it was a little bit over a threshold where I thought, yes, I wouldn't mind doing something. After I've done this, it's below that threshold, so I don't think to myself, I need to do more now. Basically, the issue that I had, or you know, the minor issue, or you know, that extra level that I wanted to take it to, it's achieved that. So yeah, you need to realize that it's not going to totally transform the noise of the vehicle, but really it hasn't cost much and you can do it pretty quickly. So with regards to the decibel readings, I would say what we can be confident of is if you take a before and after with your own vehicle under the same circumstances, I think you'll get decent readings, hopefully. In terms of comparing your readings to mine or anybody else's, if someone's vehicle is heavier, the engine will work harder and you might be louder. If someone's got a tune, might be louder or quieter. If someone's got I've got a semi-mud tyre here, that's a little bit of extra noise. So it gets complex as to how much we can compare outside of any given vehicle. But in terms of your own vehicle, I would say if you're good with your science, you'll know just what you've done. But really, decibel readings are one thing, but what you hear in your perception, that's actually the most important thing. For me, it was just a little bit too noisy. Well, at least, I mean, realistically, I was happy with it, but, you know, I thought, look, if I can bump that down a little bit, then I'll be even happier. So if you want to tune in to further builds to keep up to date on modifications to my personal Amarok, or just generally along the theme of adventure and off-roading, feel free to subscribe. And of course, if you've done those decibel readings, please post them up as well, and any other comments. It'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Thanks a lot. Catch you next time.